So I'm going to start a new series of videos. Hard to say how often I'll put them up, but I'm going to call it Companies Going Ungreen. Now, what I mean by that is, I'm sure this is very good silicone seal. It should be. It cost me like 15 bucks a tube. Anyway, enough of that, inflation, etc. My point is, number one, it doesn't come with a cap. And there's no retaining ring built onto it to retain a cap, even if you have one. I got this cap off a cheap brand of silicone. So to actually say I only use 2/3 of the tube. So if I want to save it for future reference, you need a cap and you need to be able to retain it on there. So why didn't the company provide either one at 15, 16 bucks a tube when a cheap brand did? So to me, they're thinking, well, you're going to use the whole tube. Well, maybe if you're a contractor doing 50 houses, you're going to use the whole tube. I'm just, a guy with one house here trying to seal some things up, a odd time now and again. So how much does that cap cost and making a little retaining ring on it versus throwing out, how many million tubes half used of silicone by the average household? You use what you need to do a window, then you're done with it because you can't reseal it. But the only other option, if you don't happen to have a bunch of these around like I do, is like duct tape the end or put a plastic bag around it or something. But to me, it'd make a lot more sense for the company to just think just a little bit greener and supply the cap and a retaining ring so you can just put the cap back on. Then we'd all be happier. Anyway, just one of my pet peeves. Nothing against GE. I'm sure they're not the only company that does this, but it just happened to be the brand at the local store that I bought. So anyway, just putting it out there, how a little cap and a retaining ring can make things greener for our planet. Now, GE may not be alone in this. As you can see here, once again, nothing against Permatex. These are just the ones I happen to have. The lid for these. I don't know if you can see it on this one, but right about in the middle, there's a line forming, and the lid can crack right in half there. So, being the enterprising individual I am, I made my own lid a lot thicker, because I had a number of them crack. As soon as they do that, it splits, dries out, product's done. Now these ones, the expectation isn't that you use it all in one go. At least I don't think so. It shouldn't be. You use what you need, and then you put the lid on, and you save it for the next time you use it. Could be a week, could be a month, could be 6 months later. Now, everything's got a limited life. I mean, obviously you can't expect things to last 10 years after you've opened it. But anyway, so the lid needs to be thicker, because when you tighten it back down, and I don't, tighten it on there with a pair of vice grips or anything. You just hand tighten it on easy like a toothpaste tube. And, the lid shouldn't be splitting in half all the time, in my opinion at least. Anyway, just another thing maybe they can think up to thicken that wall up a bit there to go a little bit greener, shall we say.